Hello, welcome back here into CAYDEN'S Weather Center right now. It is October 2nd right now. We are paying attention to the tropics will be our main focus today, but also we want to go over the United States weather right now. We can clearly see not much is going on currently, obviously over here in the western and the central part of the United States, not seeing very much at all. You can see a little bit of scattered showers off of the Texas coast there, and then we can see some scattered showers and thunderstorms off of the Florida coast as well, and that will be possibly bringing some more thunderstorms later on today for the Florida Peninsula area, having some scattered showers. A little bit of scattered showers as well over here. A lot of cloud cover kind of going on in that central part of New York. We can clearly see a lot of cloud cover here, and that is something obviously that we're going to pay attention to closely as the sun is not out right now. The good news is, though, as we're going on still for the next couple of days, we're not anticipating a lot of rainfall here. We can clearly see, though, obviously, just like I said, the Florida Peninsula could be still dealing with some of those sea breeze thunderstorms, and then, really for the United States, very calm. And then when we get over here to October 3rd, so tomorrow afternoon, we could see some possible storms start to push up over here from the Gulf of Mexico, kind of push into the United States here, and we can see that moisture kind of get pulled up there, and then our tropical disturbance will eventually come over here and possibly push off to the east. So we'll talk about that here shortly, but very really not a lot going on. We can see, October 4th, at 4 a.m. we can clearly see maybe a little bit of showers going in through western North Carolina, but most of that moisture will bring it up into kind of the Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, and Louisiana areas, so that could be bringing some little rainfall, not some significant rainfall or anything like that. Taking a look here at the temperatures, because I do have some good news. We're going to be starting to see some cooler temperatures soon here. Heading into around 3 days from now, we can already currently see some cooler temperatures happening in Washington already, but still these temperatures are going to be staying very hot in kind of parts of the central United States here. And then over here on the western coast, we will also be seeing some very hot temperatures still continuing on. Heading into the next 7 days, that's when you start to see the United States really start to cool down in these areas right here, especially when it comes up over here to the northeast. We can clearly see up into those upper 50s, mid 50s in certain areas, and possibly even 51 degrees in parts of northern New York. So very nice temperatures there. Heading into 9-10 days out, we're gonna see these cold fronts start to come down as it's that time of year. A lot of cold weather going to be happening over here in the Midwest. Kind of, or not cold weather, but some nice chill area of weather here. 74, 73 degrees there, and then still the Northeast kind of still dealing with some of that very interesting temperatures there that not the rest of the United States is getting right now, but some nice cool temperatures will be coming in. And then 15 days out, we can see all of this kind of cold blast that is going through Canada will eventually make its way down to the United States, and we're going to start to see that here. And you can see in the next 15 days, we'll have these little spots of blue here, and that will bring into the 60s and the 50-degree weather, and then possibly even reaching into the upper 40s in the Northeast here in the next 15 days. So that's something to pay attention to. Obviously, we have all been kind of waiting for the cooler weather to arrive, and I will say it is arriving pretty soon, so that's at least some good news there. Taking a look here back at the tropics, because the tropics is obviously our main focus. Some pretty big convection starting to blow up over here just east of Central America here. We can clearly see that a little bit of that moisture still going into parts of Cuba here, and we'll pay attention to this storm as it will eventually make its way into the Gulf of Mexico. Taking a look here at what the National Hurricane Center is saying right now, we do have Hurricane Kirk that is going to continue to kind of push out into the land. We now have that tropical depression 11, I believe, or no, I think it's way above 11. I don't know yet, but tropical depression will be going out into sea as well. So this is the area we want to pay attention to mostly right now, because this will bring, obviously regardless of the development, still a lot of rainfall could be going into Central America, the Yucatan area, parts of Mexico as well. We could be seeing some of that heavy rainfall. As the National Hurricane Center has already said, the environmental conditions could support some gradual development, and a tropical depression could form over the weekend as a broader disturbance moves fully into the Gulf of Mexico. And that's kind of what we're seeing, some of these models bringing it up and then kind of bringing it into Florida, and that will bring a lot of tropical moisture, and we're starting to see a little bit more of consistency with it going into Florida here. Taking a look here at the Euro probabilities, we can clearly see for the next couple of days here for the tropical depression here, we can possibly see this is 5 days out right now. We can clearly see in the next 3 to 4 days 3 to 5 days. Pretty good chances here of a tropical depression forming right now in the Gulf of Mexico, and the chances are continuing to go up as we go on throughout the next couple of days. This will make its way to the northeast here, and we'll pay attention to that. Then we head into 120 to 168 hours out. You can see obviously Florida is in the path possibly of this. We're not anticipating any major hurricane. We're not anticipating a hurricane at this time, but we're going to really bring that lot of rainfall here in the Florida Peninsula. So no matter what, even if it doesn't develop into anything big, we're still going to see a lot of that rainfall happen here. So something to pay attention to with that. Let's head into the ensembles. We can clearly see this is the GFS ensembles here. We're going to see those low pressures starting to pull up over here. Not as much low pressures as the last time we talked about this system here. And then we start to see a little bit more of an interesting situation when we go in the Gulf. Very, very interesting tracks that are going on. This Eastern Pacific storm will go up into the Gulf, so that could possibly bring something into the Gulf of Mexico as well. But we're going to see all these, and you can see the GFS ensembles not moving the storm very, very quickly, but still bring them in over here into Florida. Louisiana going through the Florida Panhandle definitely could still be paying attention to this tropical system, but we're going to be having that cold front kind of come down, and that's why we're going to see the storm not move very quickly, but also will be very east side loaded here, as that shear will kind of try to cut it off a little bit there. You head into the Euro ensembles, a little bit more of a different scenario here, not as many low pressures forming, but a little bit more from this storm right here that does come from the Eastern Pacific. And then we see this continue on right now. Head over here, and majority of the Euro ensembles do bring it up as a weak tropical depression or a weak tropical storm here into the Florida Peninsula here. Obviously, we do see some models kind of going into Louisiana here, but not most likely. We most likely will not see that. It all depends on the timing as well. But regardless, we're going to see a lot of heavy rainfall down here, and then as it pushes up, we will see a lot of rainfall here in the Florida Peninsula. As of right now, do we know the exact amount of rainfall? We do not, but definitely still we could be expecting possibly over 5 inches of rain in some specific areas. So the GFS here, taking a look at this GFS 6Z model, we can clearly see there's that low pressure system right here, October 6th. We can clearly see some heavy amounts of rain off to the north of the system, 1,009 millibars, so obviously a very, very weak storm, and you can see majority of it is on the eastern side here, and you can see a little bit kind of splits off, so that shear will kind of come down with the cold front and kind of push it with that, larger amounts of rain going into the western coast of Florida, and then will make its way down to southern Florida and kind of just go off it and mind its own business after that. So this will bring some heavy amounts of rainfall here, and if we take a look at the accumulation here according to the GFS, you can clearly see as of the 6Z model bringing some pretty heavy amounts of rain just off the west coast of Florida, but still that purple is still 3 to 4, 5 inches of rain is possible there, and then the Keys could get even more than that. This is according to the GFS model of the 6Z. So this this has been changing a lot. We've seen a little bit more of a northern storm. It's just a big difference here on what we could be anticipating, especially when it gets to a low pressure system. That's when we can anticipate to forecast a little bit more and see what these models are saying. The Euro model, we can clearly say really still keeping the storm obviously very, very weak here, but still once again keeping all of it on the eastern side, and a lot of heavy rainfall here with the European model will bring it into the western coast of Florida, not moving very quickly here. Could take a couple days to get out of the Florida Peninsula area, but that is something to pay attention to. But the Euro model bringing in some more of that heavy rain over here on the west coast of Florida, so that would include Fort Myers, Naples area, Tampa Bay. We could be seeing possibly over 7 inches of rain according to the Euro model. Taking it into the Euro AI, we see a little bit more, of a stronger system here, 997 millibars, so that could be a tropical storm that heads into just north of the Tampa Bay area, and that brings in a lot of rain to the Florida Bend area right here, and then it will race off to the northeast. It does seem like the Euro is bringing in a lot quicker, but a little bit more of a stronger system here, and this would kind of be more of the outlier with the intensity at least. But if you go into the Euro AI and see what kind of rainfall we're looking at here, more of that rainfall, if it takes this path, and this is obviously this is subject to change, but this could bring in some heavy amounts of rainfall. Let's say this model was correct, it would bring it really into the Florida Bend and the northern part of Florida here. Going into the Canadian model here, we've seen this one a little bit. This one's bringing already heavy amounts of rain here on October 7th, and then a very, very strong possible system here. So the CMC has been a very interesting model with this storm so far, and this is, you know, an interesting one because we've been seeing a possible category 1 hurricane with the CMC model. We've been seeing this pretty consistent here, but brings it in 981, 984 millibars here just into the Tampa Bay area, and then that will race off to the northeast. So a little bit of a quicker system as well, but still brings it in as a hurricane, and that could be something to pay attention to. Obviously, though, if this does come in as a hurricane, let's say the Canadian model is correct, it more would be a rainmaker, and we can clearly see that this would be not a good scenario here for Florida. This could be over a foot of rain here in Florida if the Canadian model was right. Is that anticipated exactly right now? Most likely it will not be, but it's something still to pay attention to as of right now. The Icon model bringing it a little bit more farther west in the western Gulf of Mexico, and then we could see a little bit more of a southern type of threat here, but still bringing some heavy amounts of rain over here in the Gulf of Mexico, getting close to the west coast of Florida, but really kind of just brings it into southern Florida, and that will bring more of the rain into southern Florida. So that's according to the Icon. So every model is kind of saying its own little different things. It's, you know, not exactly a low pressure. It's not a broad low pressure really, or any. It's a broad low pressure is trying to form out of it, but not anything, you know, a closed center at least where we know and could get a little bit more of a better idea here. Taking a look at this is the Euro probabilities here for rainfall. We can clearly see in the next 96 hours we could be possibly seeing already close to an inch for central Florida here, close to an inch for rain heading into 6 days. That's when we start to see some of that rain pull up here, and we can clearly see by 15 days out, possibly the west coast of Florida here getting very hammered, 6 inches in certain areas, 6.1 down here near Fort Myers, 6.3 in Sarasota, and then 5.8 here and 5.5 in the Tampa Bay area. So this is something to pay attention to, and we're going to constantly want to pay attention to this flooding threat because this is really going to be a rainfall maker more than anything, more than the wind and all of that. So we're going to pay attention to this very, very closely here. But thank you so much for watching here this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and make sure to follow my X page down in the description down below for the most frequent updates here on the tropics and the severe weather threats and just all the weather around the United States here. But make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, and bye-bye.